What is going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh and welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video. Today I want to talk about ARCANINE. ARCANINE is something that really didn't see a ton of play. Like, it was still used fairly frequently in Series 1, but it's really starting to see kind of a jump in use in Series 2. And I want to talk about why and how you can use this Pokemon in Series 2. If this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subbed for more videos like this in the future. I post daily competitive Pokemon content, and I play Pokemon all the time. I'm trying to hit the goal of 5,000 subs by July this year. I think it's a super obtainable goal, so please consider subscribing if you find this video at all entertaining, and also check out the Discord with people over there playing Pokemon all the time. Let's get into it. So just to bring up a couple different, like right now, Series 2 isn't officially live, right? It goes live next week, but we have some tournaments going on, and I just have some a couple of these smaller tournaments that were recently been run to just kind of showcase what ARCANINE is doing, right? So here's a small tournament. All these are coming from VGC Paste's Twitter. They were tweeted, retweeted, whatever, right? So ARCANINE, right in the top 10 of this particular tournament. If I keep looking, there's another one here, another top 8. We got 2 ARCANINEs here. If we keep looking, let's see here. Here's another one here, an Oakville local, ARCANINE, right? So there's a lot of really popular teams that are running ARCANINE right now, which again, I said ARCANINE wasn't seeing a lot of play in Series 1, but it's starting to get more and more use here in Series 2. Let's talk about why. So ARCANINE has always been a really solid Pokemon. Like, if you look at its stats, it's actually pretty decent in terms of its spread. And the fact that it's a pretty bulky Intimidate setter makes it a very powerful option, especially because it has access to a lot of utility moves like Snarl, Flare Blitz, things like that. It's like a budget Incineroar, right? You don't have Parting Shot, you don't have Fake Out, but you could do Incineroar things with this Pokemon, which I think is really fun and is why this Pokemon is just always going to be good. But Series 1, we didn't have as many ARCANINE. The reason for that is because 2 Pokemon that were very prevalent, Kingambit and also Annihilate, both have the ability Defiant. Defiant boosts the stat when whatever happens. Like, if a stat is lowered on these Pokemon, their attack goes up, right? And these Pokemon are very powerful. So ARCANINE was just seeing less play. Intimidate setters in general, we're seeing less play because of the popularity of these 2 Pokemon throughout Series 1, right? It's just not worth boosting these Pokemon, making them even more powerful and going up against that, right? It just doesn't make sense. However, moving into Series 2, we're seeing a drop off in Annihilate. I'm assuming part of it is to do with Fluttermane's existence. Fluttermane, Dazzling Gleam, this Pokemon does not like it. We also, toward the end of Series 1, started seeing a spike at Azumarill, because Azumarill with huge power and Play Rough just rocks Annihilate, right? It just doesn't stand a chance. So we saw a drop off in Annihilate towards the end of Series 1, but also we're seeing a drop off in terms of just usage stats going into Series 2. Kingambit stayed pretty consistent all throughout Series 1, but the problem that Kingambit is facing now is the popularity of Iron Hands. Iron Hands is just a fantastic Pokemon, and with access to things like Drain Punch and stuff like that, this Pokemon is just destroying Kingambit on all fronts, right? So we're seeing a drop-off in this Pokemon as well, which means the big Defiant Pokemon that a lot of people were just avoiding bringing ARCANINE for in general are now falling off the map. So ARCANINE is actually rotating back into play, and that's because things like, Roaring Moon are seeing some use. We're even seeing, Great Tusk. We're seeing some people are even opting for Brute Bonnet. So we're seeing a lot of these attacking Pokemon that really don't like getting intimidated to begin with, but then also Will-O-Wisp into those Pokemon. A lot of Pokemon just don't enjoy Will-O-Wisp at all, right? So Iron Hands is actually the biggest thing for ARCANINE. ARCANINE loves playing into Iron Hands because you can go in and Will-O-Wisp this Pokemon and just make it pretty much null and void, right? It's very strong, but once you burn it, it's hard for this Pokemon to really come back and do what it normally does, because it runs like Thunder Punch, it runs Volt Switch, and then the other move, why can I never remember? It's Fake Out. Duh, it's Fake Out. I mean, once this Pokemon gets burnt, it's really hard for it to kind of sustain itself with Drain Punch and do big hits with Thunder Punch. So it makes it kind of difficult. Plus, a lot of these are running Grass Terra typing to just avoid getting spored altogether. Some are rotating into fire, but that doesn't really stop this Pokemon from being handled by things like Great Tusk and things like that. So a lot of people are still opting for the Grass Terra typing, which makes ARCANINE even better into it, right? So ARCANINE is seeing huge play because of that. We can cut that from the board. We're looking at Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon 2, another very powerful physical attacker that's seen a lot of play, with Flying Terra type. You're seeing like acrobatics on this thing with a booster energy, so you boost that, and then you have like tailwind and acrobatics, right? And this thing just hits really freaking hard. Not brutal swing, throat chop is what I'm looking for. Hits really freaking hard. Burn that. It doesn't like it, right? This Pokemon just plays so well. Again, another one. Groupon, it's less played, but it's still popping up here and there. Doesn't like getting burned, and it just doesn't play into Arcanine well at all anyways. And then you have like Great Tusk. Again, doesn't like getting burnt because it's a very powerful Pokemon. Same deal. And it still plays into like Amoonguss is never not going to be good. Plays very well into Amoonguss right now. So there's a lot of Pokemon that Arcanine just goes into and just doesn't care about. Even like Fluttermane, which really doesn't like care. It doesn't have any super weakness to Arcanine, but like a Flare Blitz from Arcanine just KOs Fluttermane because Fluttermane is super weak defensively, right? So it's just a really, really good option to bring right now because of the shift in the metagame and what people are actually bringing. It also just, like, Goldango hates this Pokemon. Hates this Pokemon because of Snarl. It doesn't do a lot of damage. Like, this is just an all-around fantastic Pokemon right now. So I wanted to talk about some ways that you could consider bringing Arcanine into Series 2 because it's just going to be a good Pokemon. It's one you're going to see pop up a lot. So the first set here, and I think I'm going to switch over to doing a lot of these moveset guides. I'm going to switch over to doing a lot of them in Showdown. So the first set that a lot of people are running, and the big item right now is Covert Cloak because we're bringing this mainly for Iron Hands right now, right? And it has Fake Out. But if you have Covert Cloak, it doesn't matter. You don't get flinched with Covert Cloak. So it's really, really nice option to countering Iron Hands. So this is what I saw in Moxie Boost's video with 244 HP, 180 defense, 4 special attack, 4 special defense, and 76 speed with a timid nature. This is just a bulky Heat Wave, Snarl, Will-O-Wisp, Protect Arcanine, right? It's just going in. It's ignoring completely the fact that, you know, Rage Powder could be in play, and you're Heat Waving, hitting both targets. Then there's also the physical option, which a lot of people are opting to run. Safety Goggles is popular on this Pokemon, but you're also seeing, again, Covert Cloak is becoming more and more common on Arcanine. Will-O-Wisp, Extreme Seed, Flare Blitz, and Snarl. And this is another just pretty much similar EV spread with 244 HP, 4 attack this time, 68 defense, a little lower on the defense, 76 special defense, and 116 speed with a Jolly Nature. Kind of just the reverse of this particular version. But again, you have E-Speed for priority. It's just a very solid option right now. It's very, very powerful. But I'm also seeing just like a spark and other brings for this particular Pokemon. Like Assault Vest Arcanine is actually seen to play, so you're like giving it more attack investment and like giving it like Flare Blitz, and Snarl is still good on it because it's still an attack, and then you can do like E-Speed, things like that. And then even like Play Rough makes this play extremely well into Iron Hands, and you're still a very bulky Pokemon. So there's just a lot of So there's just a lot of different ways of playing Arcanine that are kind of popping up right now. And I really like that because like last series we saw, you know, a Rise of Tauros toward the end of the series. And, you know, we saw like Water Tauros won San Diego Regionals. And Intimidate Pokemons are making their way back. They're making their way back. And I think that's a really good thing. I think Intimidate's one of the best ways to handle things like Dondozo right now. Iron Hands, it's just a very effective way to consistently handle strong physical attackers. And yes, I think it's great to have things like King Gambit and Annihilate in the format, because it gives you some variability. Like this was the first time in a while, like coming off a Sword and Shield VGC where all you saw was Incineroar. This is the first time in a while we didn't have like a big Intimidator always being at play. There were other things like Salamence that were popping up here and there, but like Intimidate just wasn't that common. And I think that was a fun change of pace. But being able to now revert back and see some Intimidate users coming back and getting more popular, like again, we are seeing more Salamence come up in this new format, right? It's just very fun to see these Pokemon start to shine again. And Arcanine being such a fan favorite Pokemon and being a Pokemon that is just so good naturally, it's really nice to see it come back. So these are just a couple different ways that you can use this Pokemon and just kind of start brainstorming ideas on how to make this Pokemon work in Series 2. It's definitely a Pokemon you want to keep your eye on. I really broke down why this is getting so much use, and I think it's going to just be more and more common as we progress into Series 2 and get more toward the end of the series. and kind of see how the meta shifts. I think this is just going to get more and more and more popular as it goes on. But that is going to be it for this video. If you found it entertaining, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Also, check out the Discord, like I mentioned at the top of the video. Super cool stuff going on there. People hanging out, chatting, trading, doing all that fun stuff. And if you want to see more from me, check out this video where I talk about Iron Bundle and how you can build a really fun Series 2 team around it. Really cool. Check that out. And also check out this video where I talk about how to counter Iron Hands outside of Arcanine. Arcanine is mentioned in that video, but there's a lot of other ways you can handle that Pokemon going into Series 2. But until next time, peace.